You know, I thought the Songs of Solomon was explicit, but boy, I tell you, Songs of Solomon ain't got a whole lot on Ezekiel 16. You see, I was reading Ezekiel 16 for a different purpose. I was looking at how Ezekiel 16 in the beginning of that chapter, where this is talking about how Jerusalem is going to, the children of Jerusalem are going to prostitute themselves and to all these other nations. But I was reading it for the fact that in its poetic flow, it starts out by talking about how the Israelites are the children of the Ammonites and the Hittites and how they came out of Canaan, further displaying that the Israelite people are actually Canaanite people who then separated themselves from the other Canaanites in and around the time frame of the Bronze Age collapse around 1100 to 1000 BCE. That was my original focus. And the original point of this video would have went long into that and how they adopted the Canaanite god El and his son Yahweh, his mother Asherah. And then later on, during the time frame of Ezekiel, when Josiah was revitalized, not revitalized, the wrong word, when he was re-editing the Jewish religion, reforming the Jewish religion at the time frame, because they were just came out of Assyrian control, had a little bit of independence, but then fell into the Neo-Babylonian control. That during that time frame of Josiah, they're doing these revisions. And that was going to be the main focus of how they changed Yahweh from the son of El to being Yahweh and is the God, and got rid of Asherah. That was the original focus of the video. But I got to have it all in context. So I read the chapter before, and I'm reading the chapter of Ezekiel at that time frame. It's kind of a little wishy-washy when you read Ezekiel, because Ezekiel, most scholars do agree that Ezekiel was more than likely written during the lifetime of the prophet Ezekiel, which would have been during the Babylonian captivity, maybe a little bit when they were kind of independent, but mostly during the Babylonian captivity. But then most scholars also agree that Ezekiel was then edited for the next 200 to 300 years. And the final product of it wasn't until around 200 BCE. So some of his prophecies are not really prophecies. They're just stating what happened in the past, but claiming that Ezekiel made these prophecies. But as I was reading old Ezekiel, it's talking about how, Israel grew up and had some nice breastises and was naked. And Yahweh, God, came and clothed them and washed off the blood and made them his. And he became the husband of Israel, of the children of Israel. But then he adorned Israel with gold and silver and all these things. And then Israel, being so beautiful, started filling itself and took some of that gold. And when you get into verse 17, took some of that gold and silver and made some male penises out of them and played the prostitute with them male penises, them male idols. But then the part that really got me was right up here in verse 26, when it said that you're going to prostitute yourself with the Egyptians, your neighbors, with large genitals. Maybe, I guess, that thought process has been around for a long time. That them melanated brothers are running around with some large genitals, because this is during the Babylonian time frame. So Egypt was still primarily the Nubian culture, hadn't been intermixed as much with the Greeks. So I just found that interesting. And for all my deconstructionists, I'm pretty sure you'll get a nice little laugh off that one. But please take the other information that I talked about at first, the fact that they are Canaanites who come from a mixture of Amorites and Hittites and then separated themselves. And then they developed penis envy towards the Egyptians. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness It's non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.